Hey guys, welcome to the video about your LinkedIn profile and how do you actually use your LinkedIn profile, to get the job that you really want. How do you leverage it? How do you utilize LinkedIn, correctly to make sure that it serves you and not, it doesn't hurt you. My name is Olga and I'm the founder of Revenue Hire, the company that helps match people's passions and talents with companies on a mission. After looking at tens of thousands of LinkedIn profile, I figured out that there's a couple of things that people could tweak to make sure that they using their LinkedIn profile to their benefit. So I'm going to talk about those three things. I'm also going to tell you the biggest mistake I see candidates make when it comes to LinkedIn profile, and we'll go from there. So the first thing is, before we even get to the three things, is this debate going on. Do you really need the LinkedIn profile these days? Do you not? Well, you do. Okay, it's one of the first things we as recruiters or in our company, and then the hiring managers, look at is they go to your LinkedIn profile and they look at you and they see, who do they know in common with you, and if they know somebody, that's a really good trust built right there. So it's such an easy way for you to present yourself and use that, the online real estate in a really, really smart way, because you only have really a limited amount of time to make the first impression. So use your LinkedIn for that. All right, so now that got it out of the way, what are those three things, right? So the first thing is, does your profile look professional? So look at this and pull it up right now and see, does it have a picture? If it doesn't, please make sure it does, and make sure it's a professionally done picture. It doesn't have to be, go all out, but just make sure you look the way you would look if you actually go to the interview. It's presentable. It's a business environment. LinkedIn is for business these days. So make sure you look professional, and your whole profile should look professional, right? It should represent who you are. Does it have about you? Are you using it? Are you utilizing it to make sure you describe to the interested in potential employer, just like you've got that little space? Do you talk about yourself? Do you kind of have a snapshot and paragraph about who you are? If you don't, please do that. That's the easiest fix on your profile right now. Then scan through and see, is everything in order? All the dates are in order. All the places that you've worked at, are they in order? Because that flow of your LinkedIn profile, of your profile, is super important for that professional, first impression, right? So make sure that the first impression, you do whatever you can do to show that you're a professional. So that's the first thing. The second thing would be your connections. Sometimes you go in and you see a person that with 55 connections, and this day and age, you kind of expect it to be a lot more, especially if a person is applying for a job that is either a manager position or a sales position, something that's in the B2B environment. You are kind of expected to have a larger network, especially if you work with people and you have relationships. So make sure that if you don't have enough connections or a lot of connections, think about everybody you worked with that you could connect, and make it a habit kind of going forward. If you meet somebody, connect with them, and that's how your network will grow. And another thing in the second point is, we do look at recommendations. So we look at your network, we see, who do we know in common between you and whatever connections you have that we potentially could ask about you, or we could, check on you. And then the recommendation page, as you scroll down, that we read that. I think that's one of the most underutilized spaces on LinkedIn is the recommendations. People don't give recommendations, and people don't ask for recommendations. That's a huge opportunity for you if you really want to utilize your LinkedIn fully, to ask people that will give you good recommendations to go there and kind of leave the reviews, right? Or you also can go and leave reviews to people that and that kind of ask them if they could return the favor. That is huge. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is the places that you worked at. use this time to kind of tell the story about what you did there. So if I go through your LinkedIn profile and all I see is the name of the company and your title and the times that, the dates that you worked, that is not helping me to put you more in the interview process, because you're not really telling me a story of who you are. Use this space to actually talk about your accomplishments. And I talked about this in my previous video, and talked about the resume. Make sure you use the space to tell about how amazing you are. The whole world is watching, right? So awesome when I see people putting their accomplishments and what they've accomplished and the impact in the LinkedIn profile. It doesn't have to be an essay, but you have more space than you have in your resume. So use that space and tell the story. Put numbers. Put a story of just what an amazing rock star you are. Okay, so accomplishments is huge. Accomplishments, achievements. Use those places in LinkedIn for those kind of stories. That is big. Okay, so the three things that we talked about: make sure your LinkedIn looks professional and it's ready to go to the interview. That's the kind of vibe you want your LinkedIn profile to have. Make sure you've got plenty of connections and also recommendations, because that is, especially if you're applying for jobs where LinkedIn and online research will be super important. You make sure that that's taken care of. And number three is for all the places that you worked at, make sure that you've got the accomplishments and achievements that you actually were able to get accomplished there. You put them on your LinkedIn profile. So those are the three things. And I also promised to you that I will talk about the biggest mistake I see people make that cost them interviews. And the biggest mistake I see is what candidates do is they don't align their resume and their LinkedIn profile, and they tell two different stories. And it could be because you did not update one or the other. It could be for in some not so nice situations, and it could be that the person doesn't want something on the LinkedIn profile that is on the resume. So anytime there is mismatch, the hiring manager's ears kind of go up, and it's just you don't want to start the interview with explaining why are there two different things. So make sure they line up, because that creates that transparency and congruency, and it tells a story, the whole story. Your resume tells a story about what it needs to tell a story about, and your LinkedIn tells a story, but they are in alignment and they match. That's one of the biggest things I've seen that literally cost people interviews going forward. So on that note, hope that helped. I look forward to hearing from you on your feedback. Let me know if this was helpful, and go out there and make sure your your LinkedIn looks fabulous, and use it for all you can. LinkedIn really does help in establishing that credibility. Have fun, you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.